Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we have a 2019 Subaru Outback, and we're going to be taking a look at, and I'm going to show you how to install the eTrailer Class 3 2-inch hitch receiver. Adding the hitch receiver to the back of your Outback is going to allow you to have different accessories inserted into the hitch. That is bike racks, cargo carriers. There's not a whole lot of room on the inside to haul a bike anywhere. So putting a bike rack on the back will allow you to get several bikes, not just one, to and from the trailhead. And hauling a cargo carrier on the back, it's going to allow you to get some of those bulkier items out of the inside and onto the carrier so that you can fit more people inside for those longer trips. If you're wanting to tow a small trailer with this, it would be great for those 2-inch ball mounts with the 2-inch shank, that is, and then you can put whatever size ball on the ball mount that you need to pull your trailer. If you do plan on pulling a trailer, I do recommend installing either a 4-pole or a 7-pole wiring kit. Your Subaru Outback will be prepped from the factory, so all you have to do is ground a wire to the frame of your vehicle, plug it into the plug and play plug that's on the inside behind the panel, and then put in a fuse, and then you'll have 4-pole wiring on the back. This hitch is going to feature a 2-inch by 2-inch hitch tube opening. It'll have a 5/8 inch hitch pin hole, so if you've already got a pin and clip that's a 5/8 inch, that'll fit right in there. The hitch does not come with one, so you want to be sure to either pick one up, or chances are if you pick up an accessory off our website, it's going to have one. We'll have these nice large loop style safety chain connection points. It'll fit many different style safety chains for whatever trailer you're planning on towing. Now a couple of measurements for you guys so you know what you're getting. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost part of our bumper, it's going to be about 2.5 inches, which this hitch receiver tube, as you can see, is almost perfectly flush with our rear fascia here. That's really nice because you don't have to worry about hitting your shin on the hitch. Typically these are a lot more recessed under the vehicle, but I like it that it's out at the edge so that any accessory that you have that folds up to the vehicle, you should have no problem putting it in that stored position. Now from the ground to the top inside the receiver tube, we have about 15.5 inches. That should be more than enough ground clearance for any accessory that you'll have. What you want to use that measurement for is for measuring for what size drop or rise you'll need in a ball. So you want to level out your trailer and measure from the ground to the top of the coupler, and then that'll tell you the rise or drop that you'll need. That's why we measure to the inside of the receiver tube. Now from the ground to the bottom of the receiver tube, it's about 13 inches. So keep that in mind when going up steep inclines. Again, 13 inches is a pretty high ground clearance, so you shouldn't have to worry about dragging. Now, as far as weight capacities go, this is going to have a 600-pound max tongue weight capacity. That is the pressure on the inside of the receiver tube. That's going to be for hooking up a trailer. If you've got a heavy load that's more tongue heavy, you want to be sure to stay within that 600-pound weight capacity. It's also for cargo carriers or bike racks. Bike racks, you should have a pretty hard time getting up to that 600, but definitely watch your weight with cargo carriers. You don't want to exceed the weight capacity of the cargo carrier or the hitch. Now when it comes to towing trailers, you're going to have a gross trailer weight capacity of 4,000 pounds that this hitch is designed to pull. That is the trailer plus the load included. Now with all of those weight capacities considered, you want to check with the vehicle's owner's manual to make sure that your vehicle is designed to pull those weights, and if it's not, go with the lowest number between the hitch and the vehicle. When it comes to the installation, I would actually say this one is easier to install. This particular hitch is easier to install than the other types that you have to lift up underneath. Not to mention it's going to look a lot better because you don't have the exposed cross tube. The types of hitches that you lift up will bolt to the bottom of the frame rail, but you're going to have to drill an 1 1/8 hole in the bottom of each side of your frame rail in order to run your hardware up into place. With this one, you have to take the rear fascia off, which can be a little daunting at times, but it's just push pin fasteners and screws, and hopefully with my help, you're going to be able to take it off a lot easier. But other than that, it's taking the bumper beam off, using the factory hardware, put the hitch on, put the bumper beam back, and then put your fascia back on. But with that being said, let's go ahead and pull it inside and show you how we did it. To begin our installation, we're going to have 2 push pin fasteners here that will use a Phillips head to pull the head out. Give this one a twist gently, back those out, pull the fastener out, and then this piece helps if you put a trim panel tool behind it, slide it alongside the side. It'll pop it loose. Set that to the side. We'll see 2 Phillips head bolts that we have to remove. And for going forward, anything we do on one side of the vehicle, we're going to repeat on the other side. Now we can work our taillight out. You'll have one connector here. You'll pull that out and then twist the 2 lights out. We'll set the taillight inside the back of our vehicle. We're also going to have a bolt behind this little door here. So you can take either a flathead screwdriver or a trim panel tool if you've got one and pry this little door out. And you'll see that same type of screw that we had up there. Now in the wheel wells of our vehicle, we're going to have one push pin fastener right here. You'll want to push the center in, that'll unlock it. And you want to take a trim panel tool or a screwdriver. With this being on a painted surface, I recommend a trim panel tool. And you want to get in behind the fastener to pry this out. You'll pop this out. And set it to the side. Now we're going to have 3 screws along here that we'll have to remove. Now we're going to have several push pin fasteners we're going to have to remove. You'll have one under here, one in the wheel well that's holding the rest of this mud flap on, and then some along the back side and underneath. So we'll just take a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to pop the center loose, and then the base should come out. Now the next step in our process is going to be removing the fascia. So we want to make sure that we tape up this seam so that when we pull the fascia off, we don't risk scratching either side of these panels with the fasteners that are behind here. So let's take some blue painter's tape and run it along the seam. Now with an extra set of hands, we're going to start peeling back our fascia. You just want to pry back from the edges, pop it loose, and make sure you get it disconnected. I've done a couple of these, and these are usually not very tight inside here, so you shouldn't have any issues. We'll take our plug for our sensors. Disconnect it, we'll set our fascia to the side. Now we're going to take our foam cover off here. This will be going back on, so you want to save it. Then we'll take a 14mm socket and get our hardware removed. Now with our hardware all removed, we'll take our bumper beam. We're just going to set it straight down below because we'll need to lift our hitch up into place next. Now we'll need to take a hammer and flatten this tab because that's right where our hitch receiver is going to go. Now we're going to take our hitch receiver, put it up in place over our studs. The studs should be long enough to hold the hitch in place. So we'll grab our bumper beam and slide it right over. Then we'll take our factory nuts and get those threaded back on there. You want to leave it loose because we're going to have to center the hitch up. Now in order to center your hitch, you really want to just look at this, the latch for your rear door, and look down. You can center it between the 2 brackets there and just make sure that it's centered in the hitch. And then we'll take our socket and go ahead and tighten everything down. Now we're going to grab a torque wrench and torque down all of our hardware to the specifications in the instructions. Now we can take our foam piece, put it back onto our bumper beam after we get everything torqued down. The next thing we're gonna have to do is we will have to trim out our fascia so that it can fit around our receiver tube brackets right here. When we go to put our fascia back on, if you have trouble getting it to fit back over the brackets to snap it in place, a lot of times this foam gets in the way. So we're gonna try to put ours on first without having to trim any of this, but if you have to do it at home, there's no problem in trimming a little bit of this foam off so it fits better. Now we've got our rear fascia marked per the instructions. I just like using blue painter's tape so you get nice straight lines. We'll take our oscillating tool and we're going to just cut this opening out. This is pretty thin plastic. You could probably use tin snips if you don't have one of these, or a Dremel. Now with that extra set of hands, we'll get our fascia mounted back up here. Like I said, you may have to leave this unattached and try to pull it a little bit to get all of these tabs to line up along the side. Once you get your rear fascia put back in place, that's going to do it for the installation. Well guys, hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not the eTrailer hitch receiver is right for you in your 2019 Subaru Outback.